In our first story, nurses at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital are embarking on a one-week strike action. And this comes after several calls on authorities there to provide medical equipment, drugs and adequate food for the hospital have failed. As a result, nurses fear for their lives as some patients have already become violent.
The atmosphere at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital seems rather quiet than usual. This is because the nurses are embarking on a one-week strike action. Though they are present at work, they have refused to render services to patients. In an interview with Joy News, the spokesperson of the Psychiatric Nurses Group, Philip Frimpong Ochri, says lack of logistics and even medical supplies makes it impossible to take care of the patients.
We have written to the hospital management, we have written to the mental health authorities, and then the response we got from them is that they have also proceeded to the Ministry of Health, okay? And then all they are demanding from the Ministry of Health is money, but they have not been able to get the money from the Ministry of Health. So that is why they are also not able to provide what we need to take care of the patients. Now, what we are facing is that we don't have access to essential medications to manage these patients. Secondly, we do not also have access to basic logistics to carry out our professional duties. For instance, we don't have gloves, we don't have spirits, we don't have detergents. And then the food we serve the patients to are willfully inadequate. And then these have become the major source of aggression towards staff. So our decision to put such measures in place.
Attempts to talk to some stranded relatives of the patients to share their ordeal with Joy News failed. However, the psychiatric nurses are giving authorities one-week ultimatum to heed to their call, else they will go for an indefinite industrial action.
We have duly informed the authorities that if by Friday we have not seen what it takes to work with the mental patients, we are going to declare indefinite strike. So they are in a very well-known.
Meanwhile, persons convicted of narcotics will have their monies frozen if government is successful in pushing through the Narcotics Control Commission bill. This means NACOP, aside its powers to confiscate property of persons convicted of drugs, will also further go to freeze their monies. The bill moved in Parliament on Monday will undergo consideration, but ahead of that very consideration, opinions are already divided on the provision on freezing monies of drug lords. Deputy Interior Minister James Agaga told parliamentary correspondent Elton Brobe the bill will also decriminalize drug use and its abuse by individuals.
What the bill seeks to do is to transform the Narcotics Control Board into a commission. That would give it a wide range of powers so that it is able to deal with drug trafficking, drug abuse, and of course money laundering related issues more effectively. Remember, the existing law was passed before the coming into force of the 1992 Constitution, and so there are many gaps and loopholes that we need to deal with. So if the bill comes into force and you have a commission in existence, clearly some changes would become more pronounced. First of all, the bill seeks to, of course, shift from the way and manner we treated drug addiction related issues and drug use in general as criminal acts to health-related issues. So they are now categorized under the new bill as public health-related issues. I'm talking about drug use and addiction. So what it simply means is that we're looking at decriminalizing drug use and addiction and categorizing it as a public health issue, so that drug addicts, when arrested, are not punished and jailed, but sent to rehabilitation homes and treated. That is what the bill seeks to do, and that is a departure from what the existing law does. The existing law would.
Well, but some members are expressing some worries. For example, Member of Parliament for Efutu, Alexander Afonyo-Markins, says the provision on freezing money could be abused by NACOP and is pushing for its abolition in the bill.
As a state institution, it will be well empowered to do its work. Narcotic trade is not something that we must encourage in our sub-region. It undermines our economy and our democracy. Therefore, any country that seeks to put in laws and measures to clamp down on those involved in narcotic trade and business ought to be commended. Therefore, the decision by government to eventually bring this bill to give general powers with respect to the mandate of preventing the use of illicit drugs and the trading in same, I support it. But there are concerns. Some provisions in the bill seek to give certain sweeping powers. For instance, there's a provision that allows NACOP to seize currency upon suspicion that the person is going to commit a crime. That's an irresponsible provision.
But the thing that will help,
it is not in the old law. That is an irresponsible step to take as a state.
Why?
If you are giving specific mandate, go ahead and give specific mandate. What you are doing is to enact a law that would prevent the trade and use of illicit drugs. Now, why give power for somebody to seize currency or monies belonging to another merely on suspicion that the person is about to use that money or currency to commit a crime when it's not related to narcotic offense?
Well, we have to move our attention to a lot more political stories. We do know that it's only 42 days to the election, and a lot of issues are ongoing in the political arena. The Progressive People's Party says they believe the action of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, to invite the party and its flag bearer, as well as the flag bearer of the All People's Congress for questioning, amounts to abuse of power and selective justice. At a media briefing at the party's headquarters to formally respond to the invitation by EOCO, they also raised questions about why their flag bearer is being invited to EOCO, and the PPP running mate Bridget Jogbanuku accused the state institution of seeking to destroy the PPP's image. Joy News' Ernest Menu has a lot more in this report.
Madam Bridget Jogbanuku started by assuring the rank and file of the party that Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom will contest the 2016 presidential elections and cleared the air on what they describe as some misrepresentation on the grounds on which the party's flag bearer was disqualified.
Contrary to the EC's era of judgments which we are contesting in court, we wish to state categorically that the Progressive People's Party shall contest the 2016 elections. We are convinced at this point that these despicable maneuverings are orchestrated by our opponents, who are uncomfortable with the growth of the party. The inroads we have made, the support the party is gaining, the deep positive impacts on the lives of Ghanaians in all districts in Ghana undoubtedly prove an obvious PPP-led victory in the coming 2016 elections. We wish to reiterate that Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom's competence, commitment, and dedication cannot be overemphasized.
They express disappointment in what they say is the Machiavellian tactics employed by EOCO in an attempt to disgrace Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom.
We are extremely disappointed in this Machiavellian tactics of a state-sponsored institution to attempt to disgrace Dr. Indom in such an unfortunate manner. We are surprised at the behavior of EOCO, an institution which is supposed to be, and I quote, a specialized agency to monitor and investigate economic and organized crime, and on the authority of the Attorney General to prosecute these offenses, to recover the proceeds of crime and provide for related matters. being used, unquote, and this institution is being used for intimidating political opponents. Where is the fairness in this act by Iyoko? What crime has Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom committed for him to be crucified in such a manner? If Iyoko wants Ghanaians to take them seriously, why are they not investigating all the other presidential candidates who have managed to pay their filing fees well in excess of what the PPP has paid?
General Secretary of the PPP, Murtala Mohammed, called on all stakeholders to help address what he says is the selective injustice by the state institution.
So the point is that they have been selective. You should carry this away. The point we are making here is that the Iyoko, EC, and anybody intimidating and harassing the PPP is being selective. We have said this over and over again. We want the silent majority of this country to speak. You can't continue to keep quiet and continue to praise people who are enforcing the law arbitrarily. You can't do that. We want the chief imam, the Catholics, the other
Protestants,
the Protestants, whatever. All the peace-loving people of this country, we want you to speak up. I am saying that if you don't speak up, today it is PPP, tomorrow it will be you.
Even though.
And it's 6 weeks to the December elections, and the former president of the Ghana Bar Association is already dispelling concerns of some rising tensions ahead of the polls. He refuted claims by a section of civil society groups that there are issues surrounding Ghana's electoral process, resulting in what the IDEC executive director described as something people were not happy with. Well, these and other issues were discussed at length during a special forum organized by the Chief Justice on Monday. We have more in this report.
The forum drew together civil society groups, judges, law enforcement agencies and other stakeholders. Executive Director of the Institute of Democratic Governance, Emmanuel Akwete, pointed out the danger of rising tensions ahead of the December polls.
Economic policies have been pursued, but we are now told that although poverty levels have fallen, the IMF says Ghana is about one of the 7th or so in Africa with widening inequality, socioeconomic. That's also exclusion. And then you go on further, and things are not really an inclusive country, an inclusive society, as espoused by Chapter 6 of the Constitution, Directive Principles of the State. It's not in place. But this is what parties were supposed to come and take over the agency of the state to do, and they haven't done that. But nobody holds them into account. Nobody is able to control them, especially the two big parties. At liberty, they might not submit their financial statements to the EC. And, the EC shares usually could take them on, but, it's one of those things. They are too big to be engaged. I think this situation is the greatest threat to our democratic stability.
However, former Ghana Bar Association President Sam Okudzeto refuted these claims, saying the structures in place are adequate to prevent any incident.
The core of the issue is that we as citizens should appreciate that the courts are there to defend the Constitution, to ensure that there is justice. And therefore we need to afford them the protection that they need. But we find that the populace, the media, we go on undermining them, attacking them, attributing motives to them when they give judgment. That is the one that creates tension, particularly when we realize that the majority of the people are illiterates or semi-illiterate.
There's also a theming issue. If you actually follow the Afrobarometer clearly over the years since 2012, it's showing a trend where public trust in the judiciary is on the decline. Is this a worry?
Yes, of course, that's very worrying. It's very worrying because of the allegations of corruption and the rest of them. And you see that...
Can this judiciary be trusted, really, to deliver the kind of justice we want in an election period when the trust for this particular institution is waning?
I do not see why not. I do not see why not. That's the more reason why I say many of us who have opportunities to interact with them, try to urge them on, to encourage them, to be bold.
For Joy News, Raymond Akwa's report.
And before we go, we know that this week we have set aside as the Climate Change Week. We'll bring you issues as well as stories that tend to also tweak as well as take your mind and really relate to you. And if you want to get interactive on many of the stories on climate change that we'll be bringing to you this very week, Facebook is where you have to go to. We have a page that we're streaming live there, Joy News on TV. We have a Twitter handle at Joy News on TV, and we have a WhatsApp platform. 0560 is a number for you to reach us. Let's look at this. According to experts, climate change is a major determining factor for food prices in Ghana. Droughts can influence fruit as well as vegetable prices. Well, a good rain season will also boost production and keep prices down as well. But how do these global phenomena affect food prices in our country? Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has been finding out at the Kintampo market in the Bonaf region.
7 cities, we have the local one and we have the foreign one. But the local one is 7 cities, the foreign one too is different prices. We have 9 cities, 13 cities, 12 cities, and 15 cities. We are always using the kurwa. If it is 20 kurwa or 20 bowls or 30.
The kurwa, can I see one?
The bowl. This one.
Okay, this is what they call the kurwa. Okay.
The bowl. This one to the konko.
So, what are the prices of tin of tomato?
We have 1 seed.
Say the prices of more fish products.
The prices vary due to the rains. These herrings you see can cost 40 to 30 cedis and then 10 cedis. We, however, sometimes buy it from traders at the cost of 500 Ghana cedis, but for now it has reduced to 2.5. Even though we sometimes run at a loss, especially during the festive season, business is good somehow.
The
tomatoes you see here are spalts. These are some of the challenges we face here. The sellers actually mix the unripe ones with the ripe ones. They put the ripe ones on top, leaving the unripe ones under. Sometimes we run at loss. These tomatoes you see here are spalts, and I don't even know what to do with them. I either wait to give it out freely or leave it to rot. Sometimes they sell it to us at the cost of 200 Ghana cedis.
I am happy. Due to the frequent rains, tubers of yam that we sell are now affordable. Previously, 3 tubers of yam cost 30 Ghana cedis, but now it has gone down drastically to 10 Ghana cedis. And with this, lots of people come to buy. Initially, we used to buy from the middlemen from Kintampo at 700 Ghana cedis, but now we buy them at 500 Ghana cedis.
And those are the views of sellers in the Techime market. But just in case you live in a community or in a farming area in which perhaps the rainfall patterns have not been the same over the last couple of years, how have those patterns been influencing the way food production has been in your community? Please give us a lot more of your thoughts. On Facebook, Joy News on TV is a page, and 0560 800,000 is a number on WhatsApp. And that'll be it for the news this morning. Next, we have to bring you a lot more news, and in detail, we'll look at what the stories are, front, back pages of the various newspapers we have in the studio, and then we'll touch base with our online portals. Foremost, Major Online, we'll go to City FM, and we'll conclude with the Africa page of the BBC. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.